Let's talk about one of the most puzzling and honestly kind of weird feelings our brains can produce, déjà vu. Is it just a simple glitch in the matrix of our minds, or is there something way more interesting going on under the hood?
You know the feeling, right? That sudden, strange jolt. You're in a brand new place, maybe talking to someone you just met, but this overwhelming sensation washes over you that you've been here and done this exact thing before. It's a feeling almost everyone has, and we're going to dive into why.
And that description just nails it. Déjà vu almost never happens during some huge, life-altering event. Nope, it's usually fleeting, maybe lasting 10, 20 seconds while you're just chilling out or chatting with friends. And that randomness is part of what makes it so darn bizarre.
Now, here's the absolute key to understanding this. Déjà vu isn't just feeling like something is familiar. It's the familiarity happening at the exact same time as this little alarm bell in your head that knows it's impossible. You know for a fact you've never been here before, but one part of your brain is just screaming that you have. It's all about that conflict.
Okay, so what is actually going on in our skulls when this happens? Well, science doesn't have one single perfect answer, but there are a bunch of really compelling theories that all kind of point to it being a temporary glitch in how we process our memories.
So to get these theories, you got to understand that we have two different memory systems. Think about the classic butcher on the bus example. You see some guy on the bus, and you get this instant flash of familiarity. That's system one. It's fast, it's a gut feeling. Then comes recollection, which is your brain consciously digging through the files until, aha, that's the butcher from the grocery store. Déjà vu might just be what happens when that first system, familiarity, fires off all by itself. And the big theories really build on that idea. So first up is split perception. Imagine you just glance at something out of the corner of your eye so fast you don't even notice. Then, a millisecond later, you look at it properly. Well, that second look feels weirdly familiar because technically you have seen it before. Then there's memory mismatch. Maybe you walk into a new cafe, but the layout is exactly like your friend's old apartment. Your brain screams familiar, but you can't place why. And finally, the simplest one, a neural misfiring. The part of your brain that handles familiarity just hiccups for a second.
So does this happen to everyone equally? Not really. When you look at the data, some pretty clear patterns start to show up about who gets it and when.
And just how common is this? You might be surprised. About 2/3 of all people report having experienced déjà vu. So if you felt it, trust me, you are in very good company.
Yeah, pretty specific profile comes into focus. The experience really peaks when you're young, between 15 and 25. It's also more common if you travel a lot, which makes sense. Lots of new places for your brain to process. It's also linked to being well-educated and to being stressed or tired, because a worn-out brain is way more likely to have these little misfires. And, kind of weirdly, people who remember their dreams tend to report it more often too.
But hang on, that brings up a really strange question. If memory is supposed to get worse as we age, shouldn't we have more of these memory glitches like déjà vu? The fact that it actually fades away is a massive clue about what's really going on. We'll come back to this.
It also turns out that déjà vu isn't flying solo. It's part of a whole family of weird memory illusions. It has some very strange cousins that help us understand the bigger picture of how our memory can play tricks on us.
So meet déjà vu's opposite, jamais vu. It literally means never seen. And it's exactly what it sounds like. It's when something you absolutely know is familiar, like a person's face or a word, suddenly feels completely new and alien.
Have you ever actually done this? Try writing a super common word like door or street over and over again. After maybe 30 times, it just starts to look wrong, like it's not even a real word. That little moment of unreality, that's a tiny dose of jamais vu right there.
And there are others in the family. There's déjà rêvé, which is that very specific feeling that what's happening right now, you've dreamed it before. And then there's déjà vécu, which is way more intense. It's a feeling of reliving something that is so powerful, the person truly believes it's happening all over again.
Okay, so while déjà vu is almost always totally harmless, we do need to talk about the one time it can actually be a red flag, and that's its connection to temporal lobe epilepsy.
Look, for the vast majority of us, that brief, weird sensation is absolutely nothing to worry about. But if it starts happening a lot, like multiple times a week, and it feels really intense, it could potentially be a symptom of a seizure happening in the temporal lobe, which is the brain's memory center.
So the really important thing is to know what to look for.
Seizure-related déjà vu tends to last longer, you might lose awareness or kind of zone out, and it can come with other things like a sudden wave of fear, little muscle twitches, or feeling confused after. If that whole package sounds familiar, it's definitely worth a chat with a doctor.
All right, we've talked about what it is, who gets it, and when to be concerned. But the very latest research has this final, absolutely brilliant twist that kind of turns the whole thing on its head.
This quote from Dr. Chris Moulin really gets to the heart of this new idea. What if déjà vu isn't about your memory failing? What if it's about your relationship with your memory? Specifically, your brain's amazing ability to double-check its own work.
This is called the conflict account, and it suggests that the feeling of déjà vu isn't the glitch itself. No, it's the feeling of your brain catching the glitch. It's a sign that your brain's internal fact-checking system is working perfectly.
So think of it like this. The memory part of your brain, the temporal lobe, accidentally sends out a false familiarity signal. But then, the logical part of your brain, the prefrontal cortex, jumps in and goes, whoa, wait a second, that can't be right. That bizarre, jarring feeling of weirdness is your brain's fact-checker in action.
And this is what answers our question from earlier. Why does déjà vu fade as we get older? It's probably not because our brains are making fewer mistakes. It's that our brain's conflict monitoring system just isn't as sharp as it used to be, so it's less likely to even notice the mistakes. A young, healthy brain is just better at catching itself in a lie.
So that's what we're left with. Is that eerie feeling of having been there before? A bug in your brain's code? Or is it actually proof that your mind's built-in reality checking software is running perfectly? Something to think about the next time it happens to you.